Oh, come on, you think for at least one tank. So where are they? That's a bit more like it. Right, here's the Ruritanians then. Right, Ruritanians, what have they got as a tank? The Ruritanians are a funny lot, they get their tanks from all over the place. Now this one, it looked like the tank we just saw, wasn't it? The Chieftain tank. In actual fact, this is a tank when we sold it in the Middle East. A lot of countries in the Middle East, they refuse to buy the Chieftain unless we put a better engine in it. And this is the tank we sold. So those of you who are real rivet counters, this is what they call Cali. It's actually a tank which we made in Britain, sold to the Middle East. And if you're very careful, if you look at the engine, it's slightly higher, it's got a big diesel engine in, as opposed to the Chieftain's L60 multi-fuel engine. So there's the Ruritanians. Look like they've finally found where the mound is. They're not particularly good map readers. I know, he does rather fancy himself, this Ruritanian, doesn't he? Again, it's got that whopping great big 120mm gun on it. Very thick armour protection on the Cali. It was a very impressive tank for the time. And it looked like they finally found our mound. Now, there's a Ruritanian commander getting off it. Presumably to put up his own flag. So again, you've got to show them what we think about this. I want a bit of involvement here. Oh, come on, that's it, more than that. Right, so there's our Ruritanians, they've captured the mound. So, what the tank's going to do now is the tank positions itself, because the tank always has the thickest armour on the front. So if you're in a tank, you always try and keep the tank facing to where you think the enemy's going to be. Because you want that level of protection. So you always point your tank to where you think you're going to be attacked from. So that thick armour, if you are fired at, you've got it facing in the right way. And there's our Ruritanian going back to his vehicle now. Let's see if you were paying attention a bit earlier on. Now, what's the first thing the British Army would need to do if they're going to go and capture this mound again? What's the first thing they need to do in circumstances like this? That's a good one, but make a cup of tea. No, that's the RAF. Come on, what would the Army be doing? They'd send out their scout car, please someone was paying attention. Now, if we look down the end there, I'm hoping our scout car is going to be coming forward and reporting back that information on where the Ruritanians are, what's the best way to attack the Ruritanians, and all those things we were talking about earlier. They need to be able to see the Ruritanians as well from the point of view, do they look like a motivated force? You can have the best kit in the world, but if the soldiers using it aren't really up to the fight or don't have their heart in it, it's useless. And again, so you often see very impressive armies being defeated by people with sometimes less good quality kit. So again, that's the sort of thing the reconnaissance guys can be looking out for and radioing back all the time. Then they're going back saying things like where the Ruritanians actually are, what's the best way to attack them. And the other great thing, of course, they can do is they can call over the radio, they can call down artillery fire onto the Ruritanian position as well. So again, that keeps the Ruritanian soldiers' heads down before we go into action. So they bring down their artillery fire. The ferret, by the way, would never really get this close in a real combat situation. He'd make sure he keeps well out the way. If he ever gets this close, something's gone wrong somewhere. Okay, and he'll be backing out quick. You never want to get that close to your enemy. Hopefully the enemy never even sees you in your reconnaissance vehicle. But the important thing is he's got that information back to the main force, he's reporting back down there, and then we should see our main force attacking. So now the tank knows where it's going, knows what it's going to take on. So here comes our Chieftain tank onto the attack. And then coming on behind the Chieftain, don't forget the infantry is still important. This has got our volunteers in the back here. They're the ones that are still going to capture the ground. So whatever they tell you in this day and age is modern fighter jets and everything, infantry are still the people that are needed to attack and hold ground. So vitally important. So there's our Chieftain putting down some suppressing fire on the Ruritanians, keeping their heads down. And there's our 432. Those of you who can see the 432, that's positioning itself they always try and point to where the enemy are, because the guys in the back, don't forget, they might have been being bounced around for the last hour or so they can be very disorientated. So they need some idea of where they're attacking towards. So the vehicle's parked up there, the section commander's got them out the rear door, like we said, and they're now putting in what's called a pepper pot attack. Now the whole idea of a pepper pot attack is you go through forward a section at a time, you try and keep parallel, and then you drop down, and then the other section comes forward. And this is quite important, because if you've got guns, weapons, etc., the last thing you want to do is shoot your mate up the backside. So the last thing, as I said, you want to shoot your mate up the backside. Whatever they say in the media, this is not friendly fire. Okay, you do not want to be shot by your own side. So here they come forward, dropping down. They've worked out where the Ruritanian tank is now. Ruritanians returning machine gun fire. The other reason you keep nice and spread out, of course, is so one burst of machine gun fire doesn't take out the whole of the unit. And here comes our volunteers. Right, they're charging. Yeah, a couple of casualties. I'm sure they'll be alright. Oh, and look at that, pathetic. Ruritanians are thrown in the towel already. Well done, our volunteers. I can see one or two are going to needing a bit more fitness training there in our volunteers. Right, back up on the mound, please. If we can have our volunteers back up on there. Of course, what we didn't tell them a bit earlier on today, they're going to spend the rest of the day cleaning their kit and cleaning down our tanks. But actually, it takes about 6 weeks to train an infantryman for the British Army. Now, our volunteers there, they managed to do that in about 30 minutes. We grabbed them out there and gave them a little bit of training. So they've done very well, actually, in coming forward and doing that. So there's the mound, back in British service again there. So and well done, our volunteers. Give them a round of applause. They did very well then. Now, what we're going to do for you now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go and take the Ruritanians off into custody. We'll get the vehicles off the field for you, and then our ride vehicle, that'll be running throughout the rest of the afternoon.